Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the launch of the Digital Transformation Hub. Just a bit of housekeeping before we get going today. All lines muted, so if you have any technical issues, please type them into the questions box on your GoToWebinar panel and I should be able to assist. If you're on a Wi-Fi connection and have multiple programs open, this can sometimes affect the quality of the audio and the video, so please just close any programs you're not using to get the best possible experience. And please note this webinar is being recorded and a link to the recording and the slides will be sent to you towards the end of this week. So that's all from me. I will pass over to Marcus Harvey, our Digital Transformation Manager, to get things started today.
Thanks, Jane, and good morning, everyone. It's fabulous to be here launching the Hub. What I'd like to do this morning is just start with an acknowledgement of country and acknowledge the traditional custodians throughout Australia and their connections to land, sea and community. We pay our respects to their elders, past, present, and extend that respect to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people here today, especially those on the webinar. I'm thrilled to launch the Hub, especially as we'll be hearing from Infoxchange Group CEO David Spriggs, Lord Mayor's Charitable Foundation CEO Dr. Catherine Brown OAM, and WAY's CEO Elizabeth Thomas. I'll then be providing a guided tour of the Hub and the resources available. Let me hand you over to David, who has been instrumental in turning the Hub into reality.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Marcus, and for take this opportunity to thank you for your fantastic leadership of this initiative. I would also like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land that we're all joining from today. I'm joining from the lands of the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation, and pay my respects to elders past, present, and emerging. And please feel free to, if you want to put into the chat the lands that you're joining us from today. And thank you everybody for joining. I'm delighted to be here. This was planned to be originally an in-person event that we were going to hold actually at the Gandel Digital Future Lab at ACME here in Melbourne. But like many other things over the last year, we had to pivot at the 11th hour and move this to an online event. One of the benefits of that though is we've got a much larger audience joining us today. I think we've had over 800 registrations for the webinar this morning. So fantastic to see that level of interest, and thank you everybody for taking the time to join us. So today we're launching our Digital Transformation Hub, and really with the goal of helping not-for-profits build digital capability and resilience, ultimately to have more impact, and in the context of COVID-19 and thinking about a post-COVID world, although that may seem quite far away at the moment, and we certainly send our thoughts and best wishes to everybody in lockdown, but particularly those in New South Wales at this difficult time. The Hub's been established with seed funding from the Lord Mayor's Charitable Foundation and Gandel Philanthropy, and it's fantastic to have Catherine and Bedrin, you can see on the screen at the moment, and Catherine will be speaking shortly. But we've also had additional support from right across the philanthropic, government and corporate sectors, as well as so many not-for-profits willing to share their stories as part of the Hub. So this morning I was going to talk just quickly on why we think that there is a need for a digital transformation hub for the sector, what it is, and then to thank the many organisations that have come together to make this cross-sector partnership possible. If we can get the next slide up, Marcus. So why a digital transformation hub? And really the pandemic has shone a light on the technology challenges faced right across the not-for-profit sector. We've been running an annual survey of the needs of the sector for the last 5 years now. And you can see on the screen here some of the key findings from the most recent survey. More than half of not-for-profits surveyed as part of this said they were less than satisfied with technology. Almost 50% of staff in not-for-profits say that they're less than confident in using technology and information systems. There's some huge risks in there around areas like information security, given the sensitivity of data held within the sector. And looking at it from a COVID lens, when we did this survey, only 30% of organisations said they were ready for the transition for staff and volunteers to be able to work from home at the beginning of the pandemic. Something like 97% said that their services were impacted as a result of COVID. And to me, that's where there's an opportunity here to start thinking a little bit differently about how our services are delivered moving forward. Think about service transformation and think about how that can be enabled by digital technology. But we're well aware of the barriers that the sector faces around access to affordable and fit for purpose technology, access to skilled resources, and sometimes just the lack of awareness of benefits and how to use digital tech. We'll get the next slide, Marcus. So really in response to those challenges is why we've put together the Digital Transformation Hub and why we think it's really important that it's led as a cross-sector partnership to help organisations on this digital transformation journey. So the hub itself is bringing together the best of some of the resources from within the Infoxchange Group, from Infoxchange and Connecting Up, but also experts from across the technology sector and other not-for-profits who are willing to tell their stories. And it's a lot more than just a website. You can see on the screen here some of the key components. So access to technology, access to donated and discounted technology from a number of the major technology vendors, as well as a lot of the localised solutions that have been developed specifically for the not-for-profit sector here in Australia. Access to expertise. So one of the biggest things we hear from organisations is, great to have all of this information out here, but I really just want to speak to somebody. So a big feature of the hub is an expert bar where you can book in for just a one-on-one consultation with an expert in a particular subject. So that might be, I'm looking to get started, I don't know how to do that, can you give me some help? In general, it might be, I'm looking to improve my information security posture. How do I get started with that? How do I move along? It might be, I want to work on my digital marketing. So we've got experts available across a whole range of subjects that are available for one-on-one consultations. And then we'll also be running a number of capacity building webinars and as the situation allows it, face-to-face events as well. There's a fantastic resource base within the hub, which Marcus will walk us through in a little bit, sort of curated content, which allows organisations to say, well, what level am I at now? And what might I be wanting to work on, and then to be able to access some guides and content to help with that. And then access to training. And a number of our partners have contributed online training resources as well as training resources that can be used by organisations to train staff. So a great collection. As I said before, this is a cross-sector partnership, and really my main message today is a huge thank you to all of these supporters. From a Philanthropic Foundation, Lord Mayor's Charitable Foundation and Gandel Philanthropy came on very early on this journey, and I'd personally like to thank Catherine and Vedran for their belief in this initiative from the very beginning. And I think it was an example of the best of philanthropy. Here's an identified need. This is critical, particularly in the context of COVID. And let's get this funded and let's get this project underway. So a huge heartfelt thank you to Catherine and Vedran. Wilton Philanthropy have come on board as well as a philanthropic partner, and we'd like to thank them. And then government has come on board. The New South Wales government, through the Social Sector Transformation Fund, has given us a really significant scale-up grant to expand the hub, and the Victorian government through the Digital Innovation Festival, and we'll be running a number of events in partnership with the Victorian government over the next 12 months. Some of our corporate partners, you can see there, organisations like Google and Microsoft are donating their technology, their cloud-based technology for the sector, as well as making a number of resources and training guides available. PwC has been a partner again from very early on in the hub. They've helped develop a number of resources and are providing volunteers from their team to help staff the expert bar that I was referring to before. On the right-hand side, you can see a number of the contributing partners that we've got to the hub. So all of these organisations are providing either resources, they've helped develop guides, they're providing staff to help on the expert bar, from universities like Griffith that's going to be providing micro credentials on the hub, Swinburne, who's looking at data for social good, through to organisations like Community that are helping us from a volunteer matching perspective to engage volunteers to help organisations on the journey. And then Pro Bono Australia is our media partner, who have put out a couple of articles this morning. A huge thank you to Pro Bono. And that will be an ongoing relationship where every month or so there'll be articles in Pro Bono about the importance of digital transformation and following the journey of individual organisations that have been on that path. So again, a huge thank you from me to those supporters. And then this slide shows some of the not-for-profits that have been really so generous in sharing their stories for the Hub. So all of these organisations you can see on the screen at the moment, you'll be able to go to the Hub and read their stories about their digital transformation journey. And I'd like to say, the good, bad and the ugly. This digital transformation can be hard, and these organisations are all at different stages of their journey. But wonderful that they're willing to share those stories with us all. And we're obviously looking to build on the number of case studies here over time. And we'll hear soon from Liz Thomas from Ways about their journey. So a final plug from me. I was talking earlier about our digital technology in the not-for-profit sector report. We've just launched the latest survey for 2021, and so I'd encourage as many of you as possible to get online and complete that survey. We really appreciate the time that the sector puts into completing that survey. We had over 500 organisations complete the survey last year. We're looking for the same sort of number again this year, and it will help inform where we go with the Hub and sort of what the needs are across the sector. So thank you again for joining us today. This is the launch, but it's really just the beginning of the journey from our perspective. So please get in touch. We'd love to have your feedback on the Hub, what's working, what you would like us to add, what more we can do. And please get in contact if you think you can contribute to the Hub, either as a not-for-profit that's willing to share your story, as a corporate partner or a tech partner, or anybody else that's willing to contribute resources and contribute to the expert bar. This is really about a cross-sector partnership, and together we'll help digitally transform the sector. So thank you for joining us, and it's now my great pleasure to introduce Dr. Catherine Brown OAM, CEO of the Lord Mayor's Charitable Foundation, who's going to be speaking on behalf of the Lord Mayor's Charitable Foundation and Gandel Philanthropy. And as I said before, such a huge supporter from the very beginning of this initiative. So a great pleasure to welcome Catherine to join us now.
Thank you very much, David. I would first also like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land on which we're all meeting all around Australia, but in particular I'm joining from the lands of the Wurundjeri and the Bunurong peoples of the Kulin Nation, and I'd like to pay respect to their elders and to past, present and emerging, and also other elders who are with us here today. I'd like to acknowledge our philanthropy partner in supporting this initiative. We're as joint first funders from the very inception of the idea of a digital transformation hub. Vedran Drakulic, CEO of Gandel Philanthropy. Gandel is a special collaborator of ours, and we've worked on a number of really innovative projects together. And I'd also like to acknowledge the amazing team at Infoxchange led by David and Marcus. Really a real joy to work with Infoxchange. So I just want to give a perspective of the project from philanthropy's point of view, and just to explain, why we would be supporting it and what we've seen during COVID. So our foundation has been committed to supporting a strong charitable sector since 1923. So we are quite an old organisation, but very committed to being relevant to the times. We support innovation and capacity building, and we address the big challenges of the day. So obviously at the moment, COVID is a big issue, big challenge for us all, and it has follow-on consequences in the other areas we work in, particularly homelessness and affordable housing and economic inclusion and community resilience. And then the other area we work a lot in is climate change. So we see philanthropy as having an important role in supporting the charitable and broader not-for-profit sector in this time of uncertainty and increased demand for services, especially through enhancing agility and adaptability and through encouraging innovative solutions. I have been very inspired for quite a number of years by the work of Dr. Lucy Bernholtz at Stanford Centre for Philanthropy and Civil Society. And increasingly over these last few years, Lucy has been monitoring digital civil society. And in her 2021 blueprint, she talked about philanthropy's role. I just wanted to read two very brief quotes. So philanthropy must help nonprofits not just get technology, but imagine, create, purchase and maintain a digital infrastructure and tools aligned with democratic and pluralistic logics. And then also we must help develop policies, protections, platforms and new rules so that civil society and democracy can thrive in our digital reality. So very important that the not-for-profit sector is very empowered in the digital world. Just as a sort of setting the scene, we have been interested in this space for a while and have funded two earlier projects. One was the Social Enterprise Impact Lab with the Centre for Social Impact at Swinburne, and then the other is called the Digital Sandbox Project with the Social Innovation Research Institute, also at Swinburne. But turning to the Digital Transformation Hub and what we've seen during COVID, it's very important that we have the digital capability to respond to these types of issues. So first of all, responding to increased demand for services and support. That includes funding Infoxchange actually to enhance and refresh the Ask Izzy Health and Community Services information platform right at the start of COVID, when people who have been affected through perhaps unemployment had never actually had to use community services before. So there's been a very big uptick in demand in some areas. We also funded Justice Connect's Dear Landlord project, where they've added new resources and enhanced online capability. Another area is supporting frontline workers. So we funded Gather My Crew for their health and street crews. Gather My Crew is a platform which allows people to help each other online, which has been very powerful. Also, there's helping people who are affected to have a voice, and one example of that would be funding the Youth Affairs Council of Victoria in relation to young people with disabilities during COVID. We've seen fantastic increase in collaboration, which has also used digital technology, and one example would be the Moving Feast food security collaboration led by Street, but with 10 other social enterprises focused on the food security issue. Then we've also seen people looking at new forms of income generation. So David mentioned digital marketing. We've seen people looking at online social enterprise, how are they going to deliver their products online and sell online and transfer to that quickly, new fundraising models, and obviously enhancing digital marketing. And then I think another interesting area, which I suspect will only grow, is the importance of demonstrating impact based on meaningful data. And this can lead to opportunities for new funding and financing for not-for-profits. And one example would be Melbourne City Mission's Living Learning New Social Impact Bond, which we've invested in. So that kind of sets the scene for why digital transformation and digital capability is so important. And then why we actually supported the hub. Really, we could see that not only did the sector have a need to increase its digital capability, there's also really opportunity to look creatively at service and funding innovation. So we hope that as well as helping us survive and thrive through COVID, that post-COVID, this will be a real source of innovation. So as COVID emerged, our foundation and Gandel Philanthropy, we both looked at ways to support the underlying challenges of COVID, as I've talked about, and we were keen to support Infoxchange to develop the hub, particularly for a few reasons. And Infoxchange was at the forefront of advocating for the digital needs of the not-for-profit sector. And I think I first heard David's vision really at a roundtable hosted by Social Ventures Australia. And I was inspired, and it really fitted with a lot of what I'd been thinking about digital transformation and, as I've said earlier, the work from Stanford and some of our other earlier funding. I think Infoxchange had already demonstrated capability. They have a reach of existing services through where not-for-profits can access donated tech, online training and advice. So there was real potential to build on this strong base to broaden and deepen the services available. There was also the successful implementation of the refresh and expansion of Ask Izzy, which I've mentioned, but they did that extremely well. And then the hub was really based on a lot of different research indicating that this sort of support was needed. So at Infoxchange research that David's mentioned, also the Pulse surveys by SVA and Centre for Social Impact, other work by Gandel that was part of a philanthropy collaboration research. It goes on. It was just very clear that digital strengthening was required. So Lord Mayor's Charitable Foundation and Gandel, we asked Infoxchange to put forward a proposal for a digital transformation hub. And we see this as an investment in community infrastructure across the sector. Some of you might know that my background initially was in law and then obviously other things, but you know, I think a back office is very critical to a well-functioning not-for-profit, and it's like a trampoline. The stronger and more resilient the back office, the higher the organisation can bounce in achieving its mission, and I've seen that over many years. So the hub will fast-track the digital capability of the not-for-profit sector. The seed funding as first funders that our foundation and Gandel Philanthropy put in is to kickstart the process. It enabled Infoxchange to design and begin implementing the hub and to seek additional support. And it's been so fantastic to have Wilton Philanthropy, New South Wales Government and the Victorian Government coming in behind us on this really important work. So as I said, beyond the immediate response to COVID, there's potential opportunities to transform service delivery, to change marketing and back office capability, ultimately to have more impact and reach more people in need. So I just really like to encourage everybody to make use of the hub. The more people who actually use it, the more powerful it will become, the more stories there will be there to share. I know from our own experience, digital transformation is a journey. It takes time. And you're always improving, and it requires tenacity and patience. Gandel and ourselves are communicating to our grant partners, so to encourage them to use the hub, and hopefully everybody on this webinar will also use it. So in closing, I'd just like to say it's wonderful to be part of the launch of this visionary project. It really builds on Infoxchange's capability and knowledge, and it supports a resilient and service innovation mindset within Australia's smart and caring sector, i.e. the not-for-profit sector. So thank you, and back to Marcus.
Thanks, Catherine. It was fabulous to get your perspective on the sector, the importance of digital transformation, and the role that funders like yourself and Gandel have to play in enabling the sector and building that sustainability for the long term. I'm now going to ask Liz Thomas, CEO of Ways, to share her story.
Thanks, Marcus, and let me begin by acknowledging the traditional owners of the lands on which we're all meeting today. I come to you from Hobart and the lands of the Muanina people. I pledge my respect to their elders past and present and my support for their emerging leaders. Ways is, I have the first slide, thanks Marcus. Okay, so Ways' story, which I'll outline in the next 10 minutes or so, is one that began pre-COVID, but I think benefited for the work we did before COVID to maintain our service delivery during the last 18 months. We're the largest provider of family violence response and housing and homeless services in the southeast region of Melbourne. During the course of the pandemic, we were regarded as an essential service, and had to maintain our service delivery and had to keep our front door open at our Dandenong office for those vulnerable Victorians that during the pandemic needed our services more than ever. Each year we support approximately 20,000 clients, and over the last 5 years we've grown as an organisation fourfold, and we're anticipating that in the next 12 months our staff will increase another 20%, as we've just been named as the specialist family violence partner in the Orange Door in our region, which is indeed an honour and a privilege, but again introduces a new infrastructure challenge that we need to be prepared for. I was appointed as the interim CEO of Ways in March 2019, and as part of looking at what our organisation needed to do to be ready for future growth, but also to catch up on the growth that had already occurred, we undertook a diagnostic review of our corporate infrastructure, including technology. And to be honest, until that time, lots of small for-purpose organisation, Ways had run our IT service through an independent contractor, cobbled together most of our systems, certainly didn't have a plan for technology to support our business growth. But we acknowledged that the biggest limitation on our service delivery and our future growth was technology. We just had to commit our resources and our time and energy to getting better with our technology and infrastructure. The outdated technology had become a risk. What precipitated our action? We were about to relocate our main office premises. There are about 100 people based in very aged premises. I nearly died 1,000 deaths when I first saw the Thomas Street premises, and I think Marcus has been there and can attest to that. It was seriously gaffer tape holding wires onto walls and holes in carpets and Lord knows what else. But we were looking to relocate that premises from Thomas Street in Dandenong to the Princes Highway, great new premises we'd developed. And to me, that seemed as good a time as any to bite the bullet and really invest in technology. I think, to be honest, like most of us in this sector, we hadn't really planned what we would do, other than we thought it was a great time to revisit our technology infrastructure as part of our move. I'd heard about Infoxchange and the work they do. One of our board directors, Diana Brown, had been involved in the development of the RCZ project and introduced me to Marcus. And we asked Infoxchange to come back to us with a plan for supporting not only our relocation to the new office, but our longer term IT strategy, data management, cloud-based systems and workflow management and cyber security. We were working, as I recall, Marcus, to a very tight time frame. I think I approached Marcus in October and we were due to relocate in December, so no pressure. But we did it, and we came together and supported that relocation to the new office. And thank goodness, because that transformation, which began in October, we moved in December and really were up and running with the majority of the new works. The implementation of our telephony systems was a big issue. Ways has 10 sites throughout Casey, Cardinia and the Greater Dandenong office, so Greater Dandenong LGA. So wasn't just, we were reaping the benefits of it through our whole organisation, not just through the Dandenong office. I questioned whether to put that dot point in. We made a really great decision just prior to COVID that we didn't need laptops in our organisation. None of our staff worked remotely. We would manage with desktops. So that decision made in early 2020 was quickly reversed, and that was, I think, one of the biggest things that we had to do immediately, because our staff needed to continue to deliver the services they did, but from their homes. So a swap to desktop technology and a pivot to laptops, and that I think were delivered in McDonald's car parks and coffee shops and all over the place, so we could support that. Next slide. Thanks, Marcus. Okay, so one of the things that the work that we've done so far, we've outlined there. We're now working with Microsoft Office 365, including Teams. We've upgraded our file storage and done a basic implementation of SharePoint that we'll be seeking to upgrade further. We've implemented Teams telephony. That was probably one of the major changes for our staff, to move to that system away from desk phones and a front of house reception centre. We've installed video conferencing and as well as part of the new premises, and using that for our internal meetings. I guess what I wanted to highlight today was the importance of having an IT infrastructure and a digital technology that supports your service delivery. I think that one of the things we, as the next page, as I said there, during COVID we survived. We often reflect as an executive team, how would we have survived the past 18 months had we not invested in this transformation of our technology and ICT infrastructure? I really don't know. It's certainly, we wouldn't be able to have maintained the service delivery to the standard we did and deal with that increase, like 30% in 1 month increase in reported incidents of family violence that we had to return to. We were barely managing the work that we had coming through the door, let alone the influx we had through the pandemic. So for us, transformation is achievable and necessary, but for us it was essential, and it will continue to be essential. Focused on the key enablers for a lot of us, and a lot of people in the not-for-profit sector. IT is not part of the language we communicate with every day. A lot of our staff weren't comfortable with technology, and we really were a service based on interpersonal communication and file notes. So we're still, I think, coming to terms with that, being fostering a culture that is comfortable with technology and can use technology to support our future growth and our client services. And that's where the internal team of champions, we identified at the beginning of the project, those the people within the organisation who were at least partially comfortable with technology. So it became very much a process that had its supporters within the operational area of the organisation that could facilitate what we were doing. I think one of the other learnings that is, as we move into training people in new systems, is how do we accommodate adult learning practices in delivering that training? We know adults learn quite differently to children, and yet I think one of the things I reflected on when we were learning about the Teams telephony system, we filed 20 people into a room, sat them around a table and lectured them for an hour and a half and thought that was it. So, and I think that gave rise to some of the issues that we experienced later, that we could have done more. Had the pandemic not intervened, we could have done more with adult learning practices, and that's what I would like to see us embrace in the future. Developing a business continuity plan, we all learned that as part of COVID, but we want to continue to maintain our BCP and to look at what part does technology play in that. We're currently working with Infoxchange to develop an ICT strategic plan that supports the objectives contained in our strategic plan. But I think a final point that I'd like to make is, for all of us, our service was transformed during COVID. We were doing things remotely that we would never have anticipated doing, prior to March 2020. Our service is being transformed. We can't go back into a COVID normal environment with the same service delivery frameworks we went into this with. Our service has been transformed. Our clients' expectations have been transformed. I think through initiatives such as this wonderful hub, we as a sector have to seriously commit to how do we use digital transformation to support the inevitable service transformation we'll be moving forward with. Thank you for the opportunity to share our story.
Thanks, Liz. It was really wonderful to hear your honesty in terms of the journey that you've undertaken to date, some of the challenges that you've been through, because I know that every non-profit has challenges in their transformation journey, and as well as how technology can make such a difference to frontline service delivery, particularly during lockdown and when those services are even more important than normal. And the difference that it makes for people. I'm now going to talk about the hub, give you a bit of a guided tour, and show you some of the highlights and encourage everyone to explore in their own time after the webinar, because we're really keen that it delivers the greatest possible value for everyone. But I did want to explain that as we were working through the process of designing the hub, we spoke extensively to organisations to understand what would make the biggest difference. And there were 4 themes that really stood out. Organisations really valued case studies and stories from others who had been through the process. That allowed them to believe it was possible and to learn from their experiences, both good and bad. Staff responsible for technology didn't always have formal IT backgrounds and training, and they were desperately asking for resources to help them understand what they should focus on and where they should prioritise their efforts, rather than specific technical how-to guides. The request was really about help me decide where I focus and how I go through that journey. Everyone that we spoke to struggled to find cost-effective training options for staff. Usually in a non-profit organisation, staff are really good at interacting with people, not always so brilliant at working with technology. And providing options for staff that are cost-effective to build their skills and work effective with technology is one of the things we've tried to think through in the hub design today. The other thing is that some organisations knew exactly what they needed to help and wanted to jump straight into a particular topic area, whether it be digital marketing or cybersecurity. Others were looking for guidance to determine what their options and priorities should be. We designed the hub to try and make sure that we could meet all these needs, whether you knew exactly what you wanted but needed guidance to get there, or you were after the bigger picture to understand your priorities. And we're really excited by the fact that the hub is going to grow and expand and evolve as the sector does over time. The hub has a range of different resources to achieve these goals. There's a quiz that you can take to measure your transformation capability and inform your decisions about focus areas. We've got case studies to help you learn from others, guides to develop your digital capability, training resources for skills development, expert advice from volunteers for when you need that personalised information to help you on your path or to talk through a specific issue, and technology discounts so that you can make the most of every dollar. Because we recognise that any dollar you spend on technology is another dollar you don't spend on frontline service delivery. And so that balance is really important to get right. To help organisations navigate the technology jungle, we've structured the information on the hub into 5 technology domains. Tech foundations, your PC's email, file sharing and collaboration platforms. Information systems, to capture data about your service delivery, support your frontline staff, and ensure your operational processes like finance and HR run smoothly. And also to track your impacts and outcomes from your service delivery. Digital marketing, to extend your reach, IT management, so you focus on the most important areas first and appropriately manage risk, and cybersecurity, one of the challenges that we're unfortunately hearing more and more about organisations when they don't pay appropriate focus in that area. Each technology domain offers specific benefits. If you're looking for staff to work more effectively from home, and that's been a real challenge, we usually find organisations need to focus on their technology foundations. If the biggest challenge is frontline service delivery or understanding client outcomes and funded targets, usually the focus becomes information systems. Digital marketing is all about attracting new funders, supporters, volunteers, staff and clients. IT management about maximising impact from technology investment, and cybersecurity is really there to protect your reputation, client and staff information. We recommend all organisations aim for the intermediate capability or better. If a certain area is more important to you as an organisation, by all extent, go the whole hog and move towards advanced. But that intermediate capability in the hub is what we've tried to focus on to help organisations get a fundamental layer of foundation to enable their sustainability and help them to move forward. So that's enough about background and how we thought about the hub. Let's jump in and have a bit of a look. So, Digital Transformation Hub. You can see here digitaltransformation.org.au is where you go to find the hub. And what we've done is we've really designed it to help organisations take advantage of technology and to guide them through that. You can see across the top, we've got easy access to the key areas and resources within the hub. We've got the digital guides with information broken down into the 5 domains. We've got training resources to help staff and IT managers develop their skills and become more comfortable using technology. We've got our most popular discounts so that you can save dollars and get the right technology at discounted or even zero cost, as well as the ability to book an expert. Now, I want to talk through each of these in more detail in a few minutes, but before I do, I wanted to highlight that we do have more than a dozen digital transformation case studies to get you energised and to realise that it's possible for non-profits to use technology effectively. From launch housing's effective use of data through to Oxfam's embrace of hybrid working, to the cancer wellness centres, creative use of CRM on a budget. All these stories highlight how organisations with often limited resources can enable staff and clients through the use of technology. If you're one of these organisations that know where you need help with, you can drive straight in to the technology domains and explore the resources. In each of the 5 domains, for instance, what I'm going to do now is jump into the information systems area. What you'll find is a quiz to help you understand where you are in the technology domain and understand your expertise and also further areas to develop. You'll find a case study so that you can read about an organisation that's been through that journey themselves. You'll also find a range of resources, both on the basic, the intermediate and advanced level, so you can both explore all resources and understand what the possibilities are, and you can look at other resources at levels either below what your current capability is or above it, just in case there's something you've missed or something that you really want to understand or jump further towards. Within the basic area, you will always find an overview article that talks about what the information systems or that technology domain is. For instance, within the information systems area, we think about 5, 6 different areas in information systems: service delivery systems, digital service delivery, the extent to which you're able to deliver services online, KPI reporting and business intelligence, the extent to which you're able to track your service outcomes, measure your impact, monitor your service targets, etc. Impact measurement, the extent to which you understand the impact you're trying to achieve, measure that, and refine your services to enhance your impact over time, as well as both your HR and your finance systems. So they're the 6 categories that we think about and recommend organisations consider when they're focusing on their digital capability within the information systems domain. You can see down the bottom of the screen that we've also articulated the different levels from basic, intermediate and advanced, and we've done that for each of the 6 areas, the 6 categories. For instance, in service delivery systems, if you're at the basic level, on the whole, staff will find the system or systems, sometimes or often it's more than one, that you use to deliver services frustrating and not fully meeting their needs. At the intermediate level, staff may use one or more systems, but they're generally reliable. They can be remotely accessed. They can capture comprehensive data about clients and stakeholders. There might be some deficiencies, such as you need to do a little bit of data duplication, or there's more than one system, but on the whole, it works well. While to get to the advanced level or capability within the service delivery systems category, systems are intuitive, they work well for your clients or your members if you're a membership-based organisation, for staff and for management. The system is flexible enough and will expand to meet future needs, and members and clients can access information online. It captures the information required to understand services and efforts for each client or member. I'm going to just quickly take you back now and show you that if you want to know where you are within each of the 5 domains, there's also the ability to take a quiz. Now, this is just the shortened version focused only on information systems. And what you'll see here is 6 questions to assess your capability. And the intent is that you select the responses that apply for your organisation. So for instance, in this case, I'm selecting the responses that say staff use one or more systems, they're reliable, intuitive, and they work well for stakeholders. In the digital service delivery, we hold some client meetings online, but we haven't yet progressed down the rest of the digital service delivery trajectory and capability. In KPI and business intelligence, we use some online dashboards and have some sophisticated, funky tools to get the most out of our out of our data and management capability, and we've been through the process to develop a theory of change, but it's not yet perfect and doesn't fully articulate the impact of all our services. From a HR perspective, we've got a good finance system, a good HR system, and our finance system is solid and meets our core needs, although we've still got some work to do in terms of workflows and automating processes. So what you can see here is after I've done the quiz, it's determined that my organisation, based on those answers, is at the intermediate capability, which broadly means that course information systems support service delivery well. Managers use useful dashboards, finance and HR is sound, but at the intermediate level, while things are sound, there's always room for improvement. You'll see that the intermediate areas are now expanded, but you can also go back to the basic information if you want to explore that further. If I just jump into the basic, you'll see that there's some core articles such as choosing the right information system or about client and case management systems. And we wrote some of those articles because the biggest challenge that a number of organisations had was picking that core system. Do I need a CRM? Do I need a membership management system? Do I need a client and case management system? And we really wanted to help organisations because it's such a significant investment, pick the right system to meet their needs so that they are well set up for the future. I'm just going to jump now to digital marketing and just quickly show you some of those areas, and then I'll move back and jump through some of the others. So again, you can see it's set up the same way as the information systems and the same as all the other areas. You've got the quiz, there's a case study there if you want to read more about an organisation that's been through the journey. In the digital marketing space, Red Kite has done some fantastic work in that space, so that's highlighted. And we can also make sure that there's the overview of digital marketing and a range of articles at the basic, intermediate and advanced layer. The same also exists within the cybersecurity, IT management and tech foundations area. I want to jump quickly now to the training areas, because this was one of the things that when we did quite a lot of research to understand what was possible, and we also worked with one of our partners, TechSoup, to bring a number of resources across and make them available at low or minimal cost to organisations. And you can see on the page here that we've got a whole range of different training programs. There's self-paced learning through the Microsoft Skills Centre within the TechSoup platform, and there's a huge range of self-paced learning programs. Some of them are free, some of them are available for $5 or less. So they are a very cost-effective option in terms of training options. There's also a significant range of options within the Microsoft platforms that's available, and links to all those if people haven't explored those. And if some of your staff learn most effective through videos, there's an amazing Microsoft 365 YouTube channel that talks through Word, PowerPoint, Excel, where people that are passionate about Microsoft Office and other things have developed videos from using Excel formula to formatting in Word, through to getting the most out of OneNote or OneDrive, and it's really an amazing resource that I didn't know anything about until a month or so ago, all available at zero cost. So there's now a huge range of resources that we hope everyone gets a lot of value out of. Within each guide, you'll be pleased to know that there's the ability to rate guides, and we really encourage you to do that, because what we want to know is what guides are useful for you so that we can prioritise the right information and guides, and move on those guides that aren't quite hitting the mark. And within the next month or so, we're looking forward to giving the ability to provide comments on the rating as well, so that we can develop the guides based on what you need. At the moment, there's more than 60 guides available, and we're really looking forward to expanding that into the future. I do want to cover both discounts, because we've got the Microsoft Nonprofit Program, the Google Program, as well as all the discounts that are available through Connecting Up, whether they be hardware, software, internet connections and mobile, as well as the entire product range that's available for discounted nonprofit options through Connecting Up. The last option is the Book an Expert, which I did want to cover. And so here within the Book an Expert form, there's the ability to ask for some help and schedule a guided, an individual consultation with one of our consultants or volunteers. I see that there's a question on the chat: how many can you book over time? And the answer to that is, it depends on demand. Obviously, because we're resourcing our expert bar with volunteers, if there's capacity within the particular area you need an expert with, you can book multiple sessions. If there's a long wait list in terms of everyone wants cybersecurity help and we've only got a dozen cybersecurity experts, if you've already had a couple of consultations, we'll let you know that you're going to have a longer wait than others. And so it's really about, we'll help you as soon as we can, but we also have to be fair, given that we don't have unlimited resources in that space. So that's very much it in terms of the Digital Transformation Hub. I did want to just finish up with my top recommendations, which just in terms of your thinking about your transformation journey. And number one, have a plan. Don't try to do everything at once. Number two, pick a non-profit collaboration platform, whether it's Office 365, Google Workspace, or something else, so long as it's cost effective and fit for purpose. Then use it really well. Don't half use it. Really make the most out of it. Number three, take cybersecurity seriously. I didn't cover it due to lack of time today, but we've got some, getting started in cybersecurity guides, what the important elements are. Please don't ignore it, because it'll come to tears eventually. Number four, move to the cloud. Now we're in COVID normal, it's really the best way to protect yourself. Number five, deliver some services digitally. Even if you just start to explore that, the more you can deliver services digitally, the more you can reach new areas, clients, expand your reach. It also can give you the opportunity to reduce your administration overheads and improve service quality. Use a core service delivery system that suits your services, staff, and the future that you're creating for yourself. Provide staff with some training options. I hope they've given you some hints there today. Measure your services' impacts and outcomes so you get the most out of them. Develop and refine your digital marketing plan so that you can have the greatest possible impact and reach everyone. And lastly, but certainly not leastly, find the right technology partners, and effectively engage with your exec and staff. Technology is not something you can do by yourself. You need the right team, both within the organisation and externally, to make a difference. We would love to hear from you. This is only the beginning. The Hub will continue to develop and grow with your feedback. We'd love to hear from you if you have a story that you want to share. That if you or your organisation can volunteer expertise to help others through the expert bar, or if there are specific guides that will help you, please let us know. Reach out using the contact form on the Hub site. Jane, I'll hand back to you.
Lovely. Thank you very much, Marcus. Hopefully everybody got a good feel of the Hub from that demo. There have been a lot of questions, but please do get in touch with us on the link that I've just sent there, digitaltransformation.org.au. And thank you to our panel today for speaking. Thank you, everybody. And thank you, everybody, for joining us today. And as I mentioned at the beginning, just in case anybody missed it, you will all be receiving a copy of this recording and the slides in the next couple of days. So just keep an eye on your inbox for that. So thank you, everybody. And have a great day. And hopefully everybody will enjoy the Hub. Thank you.
Thank you.